Thank you so very, very much. Good afternoon and welcome to Government House. My name is Jeremy Brownridge and I'm Private Secretary to the Lieutenant Governor, the Honourable Janet Austin. And today's proceedings, of course, are taking place on the beautiful territories of the Lekwungen peoples. So thank you for joining us. On behalf of Her Honour and the Honourable David Eby, Premier, welcome to the ceremony during which the Premier and new members of the Executive Council of the Government of British Columbia will be sworn or reaffirmed into office. Now, before we go any further, I see a lot of folks looking at their phone, which is fine, as long as it's silent. If you don't mind, please silence your phones so as not to disrupt these proceedings. These proceedings are rich in the tradition of our constitutional monarchy, starting from the Magna Carta in 1215, when King John agreed to share authority with his people. In each of our provinces, the Lieutenant Governor exercises authority of the Crown and gives formal approval to laws enacted by the Legislative Assembly, the administration of which is carried out in the name of the King by the Executive Council, the Cabinet, of which the Premier is President. In turn, Executive Council collectively formulates government policies and priorities. Upon approval of the Lieutenant Governor, issues executive orders and makes regulations for the administration of government. Within Canada's provincial constitutional structure, the primary responsibility of the Lieutenant Governor is to ensure that there's always a government in office and that the basic principles of responsible governance, one that has the vote of the majority of MLAs, are respected. But today, we will witness these constitutional principles swinging into action as Her Honour swears or reaffirms in this new cabinet. So let's go. All right. Friends, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, if you're comfortable doing so, would you please rise for the arrival of the Minister's Designate, followed by the Lieutenant Governor and the Premier of British Columbia. The Lekwungen traditional dancers, ladies and gentlemen. Please remain standing and join Edie in the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, to patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
What a voice. Thank you, Edie. Thank you, thank you. Please be seated. Yes. I'm now honored to introduce Councillor Norman Gary Sam from Songhees Nation to provide the territorial welcome. Thank you.
OCM, OCM Nishwalakwa, OCM Nisjelicha, Haichka Kwansane, Atecho, Lakwangan Tango, E Kosafsam, E Songhees Nation. Athanas Nes, So Quiliptin, Chislay Set Up, Songhees Nation, Lakwangan, Shwasiwas, CM, Haichka, Dana Hakwalak Hiwas, CM, Haichka, Nishjelicha, OCM. My dear friends and relatives, I'm introducing myself as Sequiliptin, and that is my traditional name that I carry. My name is Norman Gary Sam, and I am an elected councillor from the Songhees Nation. It is my honor to be here today to extend a welcome from our chief from the Songhees Nation, as well as our people, welcoming each and one to the traditional territories of the Lekwungen, today known as the Songhees Nation and the Kosapsum Nation. Just really want to express my gratitude for being invited to be here today to acknowledge the traditional territories of my people and to represent my people and my chief in this way, to join each and one of you here today in this celebration. Haichka Siam, once again, for inviting Songhees Nation and the Lekwungen traditional dancers to be here today to share a small moment in your day. Haichka Hela.
Thank you so much, Councillor. And now, before we continue, we wish to acknowledge with deep respect the recent passing of His Excellency and former Premier John Horgan. If you could join me in a moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. As representative of the King, the Lieutenant Governor will now install the new government. Firstly, Her Honor will re-administer oaths, or administer in some cases, oaths of allegiance, of office, of confidentiality to the Premier and to ask him to continue as First Minister, and then Her Honor will proceed in providing those same oaths to the rest of Cabinet. And upon then Premier Eby's recommendation, Her Honor will install members, as I'd said, selected for Executive Council by administering those same oaths. And now I would be delighted to invite Her Honor, Janet Austin, to provide her remarks and commence right into the oaths. Your Honor, thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and I am absolutely delighted to welcome all of you here to Government House today. I start, as always, by welcoming our First Nations chiefs and elders, Chief Justice Marchand, Premier Eby, of course, ministers designate, distinguished guests, friends, all. Aitzquaichos Telacha, Aikwanis Kwanangahela, which is good day, friends. It's wonderful to be among you today. And I do mean that so very sincerely. I do want to acknowledge with humility the Lekwungen peoples, the Songhees and Esquimalt, upon whose traditional territory we gather today. And I particularly want to thank Councillor Gary Norman Sam and the Lekwungen dancers for welcoming us so warmly to their traditional territory in the spirit of goodwill, peace, and friendship. Haichkasiam. Before we proceed with the swearing-in ceremony this morning, or this afternoon, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the untimely passing of former Premier John Horgan, John from Langford. He was a fine man who loved this province and everyone in it. I thoroughly enjoyed the time that I spent with him. I loved his corny sense of humor and the litany of groan-worthy dad jokes that he showered upon the entire population of British Columbia. I miss seeing him at Government House events. He was always the last to leave. I think people know that about him. And I often teased him, at the end of an event. I would give him my keys and say, okay, John, I'm going to bed. You lock up for me. And he always took my teasing with very good grace. But mostly I loved his kindness and the good intention that he brought to his work and to his interactions with everyone. Despite his many contributions and accomplishments, he remained remarkably without ego. For him, it was not about needing to be right, but about getting the right decision. There is a saying that the best person to give power to is the person who does not seek it. That was John. He could be trusted with power because he would use it wisely and for all the right reasons. In a world where public trust is hard won and easily lost, John was an exemplar of authentic leadership. He dedicated his life and his heart to the people of British Columbia, and he earned the respect and affection of allies and opponents alike, a rare feat that speaks to the depth of his character and to his good intent. Public service, as you know, isn't the glamorous path that some think it is. It's grueling, often thankless, and it demands one's whole self. And John gave us his all. We are poor for his loss, but so much richer for having known him. Wasn't he marvelous? Thank you. And now a few remarks about the ceremony. A few weeks ago, I had the privilege of inviting David Eby to continue in his role as Premier and Head of Government. Today, we will formally reaffirm and reappoint him. He has now provided me with his recommendations for the composition of Executive Council, and I have the privilege and responsibility of executing his recommendations by swearing in British Columbia's Executive Council. Before I proceed, my heartfelt thanks to all of you for your devotion to public service and to our province. As Ministers of the Crown, British Columbians are entrusting to your stewardship the current management of our many challenges and the future of our province. You are called upon to lead us in addressing our complex and interrelated challenges of environment, society, and economy, in building a future of shared prosperity for all British Columbians. As the King's representative in British Columbia, I rely on the members of Executive Council to advise me on the exercise of my constitutional powers and duties. You, in turn, are accountable to the members of the Legislative Assembly and through them to the people of British Columbia. This is the principle of responsible government upon which our democracy is built, and which you are called to uphold in your roles as members of Executive Council. Inherent in this principle is an understanding that a healthy democracy requires a robust and respectful exchange of different ideas and perspectives, provides opportunities for everyone to participate, and enables people who disagree to share power. As I administer the oaths of allegiance, office, and confidentiality, I ask you to reflect on the public trust placed in you and on the qualities of diligence, vigilance, and good intention, which must always guide your actions. As we face the challenges ahead and embrace the opportunities of the future, I know that British Columbians can rely on you to undertake your work in the best tradition of collegiality and collaboration. Make no mistake, much work lies ahead, but through it all, may you be anchored and sustained by the love and support of your family and friends, and by your consciousness of the trust reposed in you. And now I will begin by reaffirming the appointment of David Robert Patrick Eby as Premier. Are you ready? Come on over. All right. Okay. I haven't even done it yet. Okay, we're good to go. I, Janet Austin, in my capacity as Lieutenant Governor of the Province of British Columbia, do hereby administer the oaths of allegiance, office, and confidentiality to you as Premier of British Columbia. I will ask you to raise your right hand and repeat after me, including your given names and surname, and we will start first with the oath of allegiance. So, I, David Robert Patrick Eby,
I, David Robert Patrick Eby,
swear
swear
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to His Majesty King Charles III,
to His Majesty King Charles III,
King of Canada,
King of Canada,
his heirs and
his
successors,
heirs and successors,
according to law.
according to law.
Okay. Next, the oath of office. I, David Robert Patrick Eby. It's got a few of them. It's Robert second. Okay. You know what the order is. I, David Robert Patrick Eby,
I, David Robert Patrick Eby,
swear
swear
that I will serve His Majesty
that I will serve His Majesty
duly and faithfully,
duly and faithfully,
and to the best of my ability,
and to the best of my ability,
fulfill the responsibilities and trust
fulfill the responsibilities and trust
granted to me
granted to me
as President of the Executive Council
as President of the Executive Council,
and Premier of British Columbia.
Premier of British Columbia.
And finally, the oath of confidentiality. I, David Robert Patrick Eby,
I, David Robert Patrick Eby,
swear
swear
that I will keep confidential
that I will keep confidential
all matters dealt with
all matters dealt with
in the Executive
in
Council,
the Executive Council,
and I will not disclose
and I will not disclose
any of the same
any of the same
to any person
to any person
other than a member of the Executive Council
other than a member of the Executive Council
as authorized by it
as authorized by it
or as required
or as required
in the lawful discharge of my duties
in the lawful discharge of my duties
as President of the Executive Council
as President of the Executive Council
and Premier of British Columbia.
Premier of British Columbia.
I hereby declare David Robert Patrick Eby reaffirmed and reappointed President of Executive Council and Premier of British Columbia. Congratulations. A lot of names. I've got 4 too. There you go. Okay, all right. Yeah. All right. Yeah, they don't give us a lot of room up here. Now,
So we have a fresh page, so
Yeah.
Your Honor, you'll be signing there.
The
and
blue.
Premier will be signing there.
okay.
Premier will now sign the book and make it official.
Awesome.
Yeah, well done. Right. Okay. All right.
Thanks, Janet.
Okay. Do we need to do these ones too?
Not
Yeah. Okay.
go back.
Okay, good. Right. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen, as you're aware, appointments to the Executive Council are made by Her Honor, and she will now administer those oaths to the Cabinet.
Okay. All right. I, Janet Austin, in my capacity as Lieutenant Governor of the Province of British Columbia, do hereby administer the oaths of allegiance, office, and confidentiality to you as members of the Executive Council in this, His Majesty's Province of British Columbia. So I ask you to raise your right hands and, well, yes, you should stand, absolutely. Sorry about that. Okay. Thank you. Who gave me the prompt? Okay. Okay, I ask you all to raise your right hands and repeat after me, including your given names and your surname, and you may choose either to swear or affirm. First, the oath of allegiance. I, Brittany Anderson. Great. Either swear or affirm. That I will be faithful. And bear true allegiance. To His Majesty. King Charles III. King of Canada. His heirs and successors. According to law. Next, the oath of office. I, Brittany John Anderson, swear or affirm that I will serve His Majesty duly and faithfully and to the best of my ability fulfill the responsibilities and trust granted to me as a member of the Executive Council of British Columbia. Okay. We got it all in. And finally, the oath of confidentiality. I, Brittany Dawn Anderson, swear or affirm that I will keep confidential all matters dealt with in the Executive Council, and I will not disclose any of the same to any person other than a member of Executive Council except as authorized by it or as required in the lawful discharge of my duties as a member of Executive Council. Your cue. Yeah, here, come on over. Oh, actually, I think we signed first. Is that right? Yeah.
I thought so.
Sorry. Okay,
Over, Jeremy.
my mistake.
Jeremy's Q&A.
Okay, great. Okay, thanks.
I'll send them over to you, Janet.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to introduce each minister that's going to come forward and sign the oath book. And I'll begin with Brittany Anderson, who is the Minister of State for Local Governments and Rural Communities. Congratulations, Brittany.
Just want to make sure we got this right. This one, yeah, I know. I just want to see where her name was. Okay. Okay.
Piano riff there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lana Popham, the Minister of Agriculture and Food.
Congratulations to you. All right, here we go. Here's yours there. Here's mine. Okay. Great. Okay.
Grace Lohr, Minister of Children and Family Development.
Okay, here we go. That's yours. This is mine. Yeah. Try and get it right. Okay, here we go.
George Chow, Minister of Citizen Services.
That's your pen. I'm going to sign here. And you're there. Okay, George.
Thank you, Your
Okay.
Honor.
Yes, George, thank you.
Lisa Bear, Minister of Education and Childcare.
Here we go. That's me. And you are here. I will sign here.
Jody Wickens. It's okay. I'm excited too. I'm excited too. Minister of State for Childcare and Children and Youth with Support Needs.
I'll sign first here.
Kelly Green, Minister for Emergency Management and Climate Readiness. Just making sure I'm in the right order here. Adrian Dix, Minister of Energy and Climate Solutions.
Okay,
There's your pen.
where are we here?
I'll sign here.
I'm left-handed,
Right
right?
here. That's
I'm
okay.
left-handed,
I'll
I'd have
move
to move
over
it
for
over
you.
here.
Yeah, no problem.
Lefties. Hey, that's pretty good. You're gonna take a picture.
For
Let's see that. Is it? I could be executed for that.
You know, I'm the one who's going to get in trouble. Oh, dear me.
Tamara Davidson, Minister of Environment and Parks.
Have a seat here. There's your pen. I'm going to sign here.
Brenda Bailey, Minister of Finance.
I'll sign here first. Actually, you're going to be there.
Ravi Parmar, Minister of Forests.
I'm going to sign first. I'll take this one here. You are the red dot.
Josie Osborne, Minister of Health.
So I'll sign first.
Ravi Kahlon, Minister for Housing and Municipal Affairs.
It's yours. You're going to sign here first.
Okay.
Christine Boyle, Minister for Indigenous Relations and Reconciliation.
Here we go. There's your pen. I'll sign first here. Got your own paparazzi, I think. Okay.
Bowen Ma, Minister for Infrastructure.
Okay. There's yours. I'll sign here first.
Diana Gibson, Minister for Jobs, Economic Development and Innovation.
Take a seat. I will sign first here. And you are here.
Rick Glumack, Minister of State for Trade.
No, not there. No, you're there.
Jennifer Whiteside, Minister of Labor. Jagrup Brar, Minister for Mining and Critical Minerals.
That's yours. And then sign here. And then you're there.
Jan Kang, Minister for Post-Secondary Education and Future Skills.
No, this one right here.
Landslide Gary Begg. Pardon me, Gary Begg. Minister for Public Safety and Solicitor General.
Now, just a sec, you take that, I'll sign here, and then you go here, okay?
Terry Young, Minister of State for Community Safety and Integrated Services.
Now, there's your pen. I will sign first here, and you're up here.
Sheila Malcolmson, Minister of Social Development and Poverty Reduction.
Now, there's your pen. I'm going to sign here first. No, you right here. All right. Yeah. Well done.
Spencer Chandra Herbert. Minister for Tourism, Arts, Culture, and Sport.
All right, here's the rest. Sign first here. And you are right there. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Spencer.
He is minister responsible for the theater.
Need a stage name. I'll do better.
It's day one. Give him a break. Okay, here we go. Farney, no. He only needs one name. Minister Mike Farnworth, Minister of Transportation and Transit.
I'll sign first here.
Randine Neal, Minister of Water, Land, and Resource Stewardship. I guess that's everybody. Nikki Sharma. I haven't even asked it. Attorney General and Deputy Premier. Great seal. Your Honor, I now request the Attorney General to receive from you, on behalf of the Crown, the Great Seal of British Columbia.
Yeah, right. So Premier, oh, hang on here. Yeah. There we go. Have to get the words right. All right. To the safe custody of the Attorney General, I commit the Great Seal of the Province of British Columbia. Take good care of it. I hereby declare you all duly affirmed and appointed as ministers and members of the Executive Council of British Columbia. Congratulations all, and my very best wishes as you undertake the important responsibilities ahead.
Your Honor, Mr. Premier, ladies and gentlemen, friends, colleagues, this concludes the ceremony. Thank you so much for coming. Would you please stand for the departure of the official party and remain? Oh, sorry.
Just one or two things. Make yourselves comfortable. Be very brief, very brief. I can feel the enthusiasm for this speech. Oh, I would love to. Thank you. Thank you. I would love to. I happen to have prepared something. I'd like to thank Councillor Sam and the Lekwungen Dancers for welcoming us to the territory. I'd like to welcome all the special guests and thank Her Honor and the team for having us here. It's a wonderful place to have this swearing in, and you've made us feel very welcome. I want to thank Elections BC. They're going to provide us with updates throughout my speech. You're not going to miss anything. Obviously, today we're also remembering the people who aren't here, and particularly John Horgan, a friend, a colleague, a mentor, a coach for many of the people on this stage and in this audience, and much further afield than that. We'll have to carry him with us in our hearts as we go forward, and I know if he were here, he would tell us to work harder, and we certainly intend to do that. Well, this is pretty exciting. You know, we've got a new team up here and in the audience, a new government. The British Columbians have sent forward to do some pretty important work for them. Just like in the legislature, where for the first time in the history of the province of British Columbia, there are more women than men representing their communities. So too our cabinet has a majority of women, and recently as well the Eby family majority women, majority female. This job of serving in government and serving on executive council is an awesome and serious responsibility. British Columbians call on us to do it with integrity. You heard it in the oaths that everyone swore to do it to the best of their abilities and to uphold the standards that are expected. And the good news is we don't have to do it on our own. You know, we're supported by family, by friends, many of whom are here, many of whom could not be here. But I'd like to thank you for supporting the people up here, the people in the audience who have been elected to serve the people of British Columbia. We couldn't do it without you, Kaylee. I couldn't do it without you. Kids, you bring joy to our hearts. A little extra work too, but joy to our hearts. And I also see in the front row Kaylee's extended family, her brother, dad, and great-grandma Gwen. And thank you. And I know that every one of us up here have family members and friends that we depend on for that support every single day at home. Gran, everybody, Nan, I could go on. I'm getting in trouble now. The point is we can't do it on our own. So I think maybe we'll just take a moment to thank, from the stage to you, all of you for supporting us in taking these steps. You know, as British Columbians, I think we all are looking for the same thing. You know, we want a job with a decent paycheck, a safe, comfortable place to live, a strong community, that connection to other people, a prosperous province for everybody, access to a family doctor, good health care, the basics. And that vision for what we all want, that was the message that people sent us into this job with in this recent election. And that is something that every one of these members and everyone who was elected is going to carry with them in the work that they do over the next 4 years. Ours will be a government that listens, and ours will be a government that delivers. Now, these aren't minor things. These are life-changing things for people in our province. And I think of people I met on the campaign trail. I met a guy named Gord who had a job doing what he described as pushing boxes around a warehouse for $20 an hour. And he was able to get into a skills training program where he learned welding. And his average wage now is $60 an hour. And he earns a wage as high as $90 an hour on some specialized jobs. I think about Maddie. She was a youth in care. And she had huge challenges ahead of her. But with the supports that were put in place for kids exiting care, she's finished school, she's starting a business, and her child's in affordable childcare. These are the things that make a difference in the lives of British Columbians, and this is the work that we will do for them. We're going to work hard on the priorities of British Columbians. The things that concern your family around the kitchen table are going to be the issues that concern our team around the cabinet table. They will remain our focus. Those families hit hard by inflation and rising costs, our focus will be on controlling your costs, supporting you with the cost of everything from housing to car insurance, and delivering a middle-income tax cut to support you and your family in these challenging times. For those of you who depend on a strong healthcare system, making sure that doctors and nurses are there to support you and your family in a time of crisis, but also doing the prevention work so that people can live at home with dignity in their communities and be supported as they would like to be supported. Making sure that we're growing our economy. We're supporting the workers of our province and small businesses, building an economy that's not just growing, but is clean and ensures that everybody sees the benefits of the growth in this province. We'll have 2 separate ministries dedicated to major economic growth sectors for us, energy and mines, ensuring that we're building the clean economy of the future and mining, delivering the critical minerals that are needed for the low carbon transformation. And we can't do it on our own. We've got to do it in partnership with Indigenous peoples in the province of British Columbia. If we want to deliver a truly sustainable, prosperous province for everybody that lives in British Columbia, we've got to work in partnership with Indigenous people, and that's what we are recommitting to do today as a government and for the next 4 years, and going forward as a province here, British Columbia. Now I'm going to tell you, these are big challenges. These are complex problems, and they are not unique at all to British Columbia. They will take time to address. But I commit to you that I will ensure that we will bring British Columbians along as we solve these problems, as we deliver solutions to this incredibly challenging time that British Columbians face. It's what they expect us to do, and that is what we are absolutely going to do. When I look at our province, I see a place where we have everything that we need to be successful. We have abundant resources. We have incredible geography situated on the Pacific with close access to major trading partners. We've got a province where clean energy is affordable, and we can deliver some of the lowest carbon products in the world. But as John would have reminded us, and as he always did, the strength of this province is the people of British Columbia. These are the people that developed the science, that delivered the vaccines, that kept people safe during the pandemic. These are the people that built the roads and the highways after they were washed out by the atmospheric river. These are the people in this province who look after each other when times are tough, we face challenges like floods and wildfires. We support each other. If we work together, we can build the brighter future for everybody that is depending on us. And that's what we're going to do. I can't wait to get started to build a province where no one gets left behind, where everyone is included, and where we work together every single day to build the British Columbia that every person deserves. Thank you so much for coming to join us today.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. As Premier Eby said, there's a lot of positive energy in the room. Hoping to channel some of that so I still have a job tomorrow. But anyway, that is the conclusion of the ceremony today. And we would ask that you remain standing for the departure of the official party and to kindly remain in the ballroom for a few minutes as the new cabinet takes an official photo out in the foyer. Thank you so much for coming and have a fantastic day. Thank you.